on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your week, a great start to your month. That's right, today is the first of the month, and Bitcoin not only was able to put in this short-term higher high on the charts, but we also finally have officially 100% closed above this 200 weekly moving average, guys. This is something that we have been waiting for quite a long time. We had never seen Bitcoin fall below it this long in its entire history, and you could see that this moving average has always suggested, hinted at, even called the absolute bottoms for Bitcoin. Now, not only that, but also on the monthly chart, we were able to close above the 50 moving average as well for the monthly. So these are two major things that have just happened for Bitcoin. And I know everyone's very bearish right now, and it could be very hard to change the way of thinking. You know, when everybody's super bullish and we think it's going to go to $100,000, $200,000, it's hard to start becoming a bear, right? Because of that excitement. And the same way when everyone's bearish and they're calling for lower levels and you feel like it's over and there's just no way there could be a recovery, well, that's when you need to start becoming the contrarian, because right now, Bitcoin is flashing some major signals that we need to talk about. And not only that, but there's one that I have not talked about on this channel in quite some time that also historically has given us amazing potential buy opportunities for Bitcoin. So I do want to talk about that. Now, realistically though, we are in the short term approaching some very critical levels, not just for Bitcoin, but also for the stocks as well. But one thing I do want to talk about today is that there is still a lot of evidence and proof that there are in fact big players loading up right now on cryptocurrencies. And I do want to discuss that. And I also want to talk about opportunities that could be coming up. One, if you just simply hold Ethereum and you hold it into the merge, I'm going to tell you how you can actually probably make some completely, totally free money just for holding Ethereum. So we're going to talk about all that. And of course, we're going to go over our short-term price targets, because there are a lot of things we need to go over. So if you are not subscribed, definitely consider it. Slap a like on today's video, guys. Amazing times. Look at this. We are back above the 200 weekly moving average, legacy indicator number 1, and we are back above this 50 moving average, legacy indicator number 2. Now, currently, you can see right here that the RSI is starting to go a little bit sideways on the monthly. I would like to see this move up, because as we can see right here, it has been putting in lower highs and lower lows throughout Bitcoin's history. But usually whenever we get below this 50 right here, it tends to signal that, we're kind of in that bear zone, that crypto winter zone, right? And once we get above that, it's usually the reversal. Now, right now, we're sitting at around 44, so we still have 6 points to get back to 50, but I would say we are close. Now, I just want to show you something incredible, and you can't make this up. So you see this EMA ribbon right here, all of these moving averages, it goes from red, orange, all the way up to yellow. And if you zoom in, look at exactly where, even though we had an awesome monthly close, look at where we had this monthly wick right here. It literally just basically perfectly within a couple dollars kissed the absolute bottom moving average of this band right here. So we're not out of the woods just yet. I'm not calling for an imminent explosive $100,000 Bitcoin tomorrow, but I do believe that we are at least due for that potential 2-month rally. Now, why is that? Well, we know the FOMC, right? They're taking off. They're not going to raise rates potentially maybe until, September when they come back again. But nevertheless, guys, you could see that on the short term, and this is something we didn't really do here. I mean, you could argue right here, we might have been in somewhat of a similar structure, fake out, putting in these higher highs. And I can understand that it could seem quite scary, but when you're comparing the structure of what we're doing right now and the fact that we are having all of these legacy indicators flashing, I think that's what we need to pay attention to, right? So short term, yeah, I mean, we knew that this was another potential resistance. There's a few levels down here if you guys are looking to trade. There's one around 22.5 and one around 22,000 even, but realistically, if we do continue to pull back on Bitcoin, the next level to sort of re-enter or reaccumulate into those longs would actually be down here at around 21,600, okay? So that's if you're waiting for that pullback, I would say that this level right here would sort of be the area that we would flip the resistance into support. And the reason for that is because we were forming an ascending triangle right here, right? And this right here was the resistance that kept holding us down. So let me clean this chart up a bit. you can obviously see right here, if we just look at that resistance, that would be where you would be looking to flip support, right? And obviously, if you guys are interested in trading, you got to check out my tutorial. Like I said, I do think it is the best tutorial on the internet. For BitGet. I've gotten a lot of compliments on it. And if you guys do want to get those extra bonuses, get subscribed to the channel. We go over these every single day. We talk about the charts. I tell you exactly what I'm looking at. If you want those $6,888 in bonuses, check that out below. And also watch the tutorial popping up above as well. But getting back to the charts, again, not to be surprised. Look at where we found that resistance. We had this first area of interest over on the CME futures, again, 24,610. I mean, you literally can't make this up, guys. We've had this same chart on this channel now for months, and that was our target hit. Now, we still are in an upward sloping trend on the futures as well. Futures chart is a little different than the standard chart because obviously futures does not trade on the weekend. So it's a slightly different chart, but I like to look at both of them because it helps to get more of a well-rounded sort of idea of what's going on. You don't want to just be, biased to just looking at one type of data. But like I said over here on the BLX, we were hitting this massive resistance, this double line resistance. And, actually, if you guys want to look at how we're doing on this fractal, it looks like see, here's the thing right here. So obviously these fractals are different. If you were to potentially, extend this out a bit right here, you could argue that maybe, this is the pump right here. You see what I'm saying? Like if we kind of stretch it out, you could say that, maybe this is coming up here. But either way, no matter how you look at it, guys, it still shows confluence coming down here, retesting this, and then having some difficulty with the resistances up here. So, I mean, you can play around with this thing. You can kind of move it, and some people are like, oh, well, you're just moving it to see the picture that you want to see. Well, no, but it's a fractal. It's not an exact measurement. So, it's really essentially just a blueprint of what could possibly happen. It doesn't mean it has to happen. It just means that fear and greed and emotion tend to not really change. I mean, 5,000 years ago, we had the same fear and, greed that we have now, right? Just in different contexts. So human emotions don't change, which is why I do think some of these fractals are good to look at. But nevertheless, until we actually break out of this downtrend, because I mean, it is a downtrend, on the macro, we're putting in lower lows and we're putting in lower highs. That's a downtrend. It's not a bull market. We are in a little bit of a bull trend right here. I mean, you could see this is looking very nice, but there always is that potential chance of a double bottom. And really, even though we are celebrating right now, if we zoom in, we're still not above our blue zone, and we're still kind of just hanging out on the heart line, right here on the center of this downwards parallel trend. So, short term, yes, there is some celebration to be had. But like I said, we can't really get too excited to confirm the new uptrend until we break this major downward sloping trend right here. And here's the good thing. Keep in mind, the trend does continue to go down over time. So actually, the longer it takes Bitcoin to get to those levels, the longer we stay down at these levels, the higher, actually, believe it or not, the probability that we will break through these levels. You just have to be patient, right? Now, here's something else to pay attention to super quick. We know that Bitcoin and the stock market have been very, very correlated. Stocks are doing something very similar, right? They're putting in this uptrend right here, and they also broke out of their upward sloping trend right here, which actually looked a lot like the Ethereum chart, right? It was higher high, higher low, then it broke out. But what are we doing right now? We're hitting the previous resistance again. See, we had this support right here, flipped into the resistance, and now we're hitting that resistance again. So if stocks start to roll over, which I don't think they will, I do think they could stall a little bit, maybe for a couple days, then that could be reflected in Bitcoin as well. But let me get back to Bitcoin again and show you yet another legacy indicator that could be calling a screaming bottom. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the market cipher indicator. There are a lot of people that use this. In fact, a good buddy of mine, CryptoFace, he's the one that essentially created this. And I have used this a lot in the past for trading. More recently, I do focus a lot more on just, traditional levels. I think sometimes you can overdo it with the indicators, but this particularly is something that a 5-year-old could see. So on the weekly, you guys can see that there's these green dots, right? And there's not very many of these dots that have flashed in Bitcoin's history. There's only ever been 3 up until now. So that being said, somewhat of a small sample size, but just understand that you often have to wait years to see one of these green dots flash. We had two, quick flashes back here, but let me show you what's going on. So let's take the first green dot, right? Let's start with the one that seemed to kind of fire a little bit awkward. So this is the first one that we ever got historically. This is on Bitstamp. You might be able to go back a little bit farther on maybe the BLX chart or something like that. But you could see right here, we had this indicator flashing. Now, this did not represent the bottom, but here is the key difference. We still had, see this green right here? This represents the money flow, right? The money flow was still technically in the green, and the RSI had not come down to these super low levels, and we also had the VWAP still sitting underneath the line, this yellow line right here, right? So let's just forget about that for a second and look at what happens when all of these indicators come together, right? What do we have right here? We have a green dot flashing, we have the money flow in the red, right? And we have the VWAP slowly moving into the yellow, and we have very oversold conditions for the RSI. So I'll actually put a line exactly where that happened, right? So that happened right there. And let's see again what happened right here. We had the same exact conditions here, December 17th of 2018, right? So I will mark this out right here. What did we have, guys? We had a green dot. We had the money flow in the red. We had the RSI completely oversold. And we had the VWAP, which is this yellow again, moving back into the positive, right? Okay. And look again what we just got, guys. And let's double check. Let's make sure that we didn't get a fake out like this first one over here. Let's double check and make sure that we have everything that we have right here. So here's the indicator, right? So we have the money flow in the red. We have the RSI extremely oversold. We have the VWAP moving into the positives with the green dot as well. Now take a look at all of the times that those green dots flashed over here on the market cipher indicator. You could argue that, okay, for example, right here, we got the indicator on, January of 2015. We didn't really break that range until October of the same year. So even though you can go sideways and consolidate, same thing here, we went sideways and consolidated, considering that it just flashed, we're probably not going to go straight to the moon. We're probably going to do the same thing, have a little sideways consolidation, maybe a fake out, freak some people out before starting to have that move. And if history does play out, then I would honestly say that market cipher indicator was once again a great bottoming out indicator. Now, this is just on the weekly. There's lots of different things you can do at market cipher, which, by the way, if you guys haven't actually checked it out, it's a pretty good tool for beginners. I don't want to say like it's just a be all end all, just trust everything, because every indicator could always, have a black swan event or a fluke. But if you guys are interested in checking this out, I would highly recommend it. I do have a link below in the description if you want to check out market cipher. I've used it for years, haven't really talked about it too much on the channel recently, but now that we are starting to build that base, build those bottom indicators, and if we do have that confirmed uptrend, especially for the next 2 months, this could be a really great tool on the lower time frames if we do have that confirmed short-term uptrend. So if you guys have TradingView, you want to get a discount on that, check that below. Also check out Market Cipher in the links and description below. Highly recommend it, guys, especially if you are a beginner trader. Although I don't really recommend trading if you've just started in crypto, but if you're a beginner trader, you're starting to trade, it's a pretty good tool. It helped me out a lot in the beginning. So talking about what we kind of called this a week ago, guys. We said that it looked like the parabolic curve of the dollar was starting to top out, and you could see right now we are obviously, and look, this is why we're stopping right here, right? We're stopping here because you could see this level of resistance right here on the dollar. Even this level right here, you can kind of say that this is a bit of a range, right? We can kind of extend that, but you can see right here, and right here. So there is that possibility that maybe the dollar does try, right, to come back up to 106, and when it does start to do that, you probably will see Bitcoin have that pullback because they have that inverse relation. But I believe that we're going to then see the dollar get rejected and continue to trend downwards, specifically over the next 2 months. That's my projection. So I do think right now the name of the game is to long, to buy, and in 2 months I think we can come back and reassess it again. But ultimately, you've seen the overall crypto market cap having a rebound, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And not to mention it, Ethereum is consolidating on this legacy Bitcoin versus Ethereum trend line. And if Ethereum does have this breakout, then I think Ethereum could be a very, very good play specifically over the next 2 months. And I will tell you how you can probably get some free money as well. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to my buddy Tyler S. Crypto. He did point out that if you just look at the overall crypto market cap, we are actually at a very critical resistance right here. And we've actually had multiple supports on the 200 weekly of the overall market cap for crypto as a total. So that's pretty cool to see. Those are just more signs potentially that the bottom is in. Now, I know it can be a little bit depressing when you're looking at, some of these prices and things that have fallen, and you see, Bitcoin is down 48%, whereas maybe, right here, NASDAQ only down 20%, the S&P only down 13%, Shanghai only down 10%, right? Gold only down 2%. What's going on? Right. But if you look at the way that Bitcoin has performed, that's the price that you pay to have the best performing asset in history, right? When, stocks fall 10%, Bitcoin falls 40%, 45%. But on the flip side, guys, in 2020, when you have stocks, only doing 24 or 16 or something like that, or 43, you have Bitcoin doing 303. The next year, 2021, you have 20, 20, 14, right? 55, right? 55, really good. Oil, not good for us with gas prices, but oil, right? 55%. Bitcoin still beat it, 59%. So you have to understand that even though Bitcoin is falling harder right now, it is so easy for Bitcoin to pump 10x, and just blow these other prices out of the water, which is like Mark Yusko was saying. If you haven't seen this episode of Stansberry Research, I want to just play a clip from you real quick. He's over at Morgan Creek. I love listening to Mark. He's awesome. And he was talking to her about the crypto winter and whether or not he believed that, it's over, how long it could take. But he also touched on the, Celsius situation, Voyager, and whether or not we really have seen those liquidations, the capitulation. So I just want to play that. It's a few minute clips, but check it out. Really cool.
So I will argue that spring has sprung. If you look at the past two cycles, we are the same number of days into that cycle where spring began and winter ended. And so now spring could last months, right? We don't have to have an immediate bull market, but spring is gone. And then when we get to summer, that's when we'll get the next speculative move. And my guess is that will come in anticipation of the next halving in 2024.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to end it at that note, even though I really wanted to get a question about the bankruptcies we've seen with Celsius, Lunar, et cetera, and how that wouldn't bring down the price further.
Oh, it did. No, Daniel, the quick answer to that, and I'll do this quick, is it did, right? All the leverage in the system is what caused the price to go to 69, which was way above fair value. All of that leverage has come out, right? The Celsius, the Luna, the leverage in BitMEX and Three Arrows Capital, all that leverage has come out. And today, Bitcoin is trading in the bottom 3% of its value relative to its long-term average. Really cheap. Versus stocks, which even after the decline of the stock market, are still trading more expensive than 93% of the time in history. So to me, go away from the things that are still expensive and go to the thing that's cheap. One thing in investing. It's the only business I know. When things go on sale, people run out of the store. Just stay in the store and buy what's on sale.
And if you consider the upside versus the downside of where Bitcoin is right now, we've already kind of been through the majority of the terrible part of the bear trend. The only hard part now is just waiting for that sort of long-term bottom to, curve out. We may be range bound for 6 to 8 months, still bouncing between 20, 35, maybe we tap down to 17 again. I don't know, a little wick on the daily or on the weekly or something like that. But ultimately, I do believe that Bitcoin is going to $1 million in our lifetime. And, looking at just some of these predictions here, if you even have, 5% conviction that that's even a possibility, how could you not potentially try to be buying some Bitcoin right now? Even if, let's say just maybe there's a 1 in 100 chance that happens, why wouldn't you want to be on that side of history? Winklevoss twins calling for 500,000 by 2023. They think it's going to replace gold. You have Bilal Hammond, the NDAX CEO, also calling for 500,000 potentially in the next 8 years. And by 2030, you have lending platform founder Alex, what's his name? Falushin, I think that might be his name. He thinks that we could potentially have a $1 million Bitcoin by 2030. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to be getting it that soon, but you never know, guys. With the situation that's going on right now, the Fed can only do what they're doing for so long before you and I both know that they have a toolbox of about 5 different strategies, right? They raise rates, they lower rates, they buy junk bonds, they sell junk bonds, right? They print money, they don't print money. That's essentially really all they do. And they know that at this point, they're going to be eventually pressed into a situation where they're going to want to avoid a debt death spiral. And that's exactly when you're going to see assets, specifically like Bitcoin, absolutely skyrocket. And not to mention, people think, oh, the institutions, they've forgot about it. They've walked away. They're not buying. That's actually just an indicator I just got right now. Actually, that was a market cipher indicator. I don't know if you guys heard that beep. I'm in a trade right now anyway, though. I don't really mind. I have my first position long, so I'm good. I don't need to add right now. But side note, despite the extended bear market, the capital inflow from cryptocurrency investment products have continued to soar as the sector makes attempts to sustain the recent short-term gains. The uptick of capital into the market suggests that investors remain supportive of cryptocurrencies despite the sustained sell-off. Now, this is according to data published by CoinShares. They say over the past 5 weeks, investment products have recorded cumulative inflows of about $500 million, with July alone attracting $474 million in capital. Now, just keep in mind, this figure is contrary to the June outflows of 481 million. So 481 million outflow, okay? And now we're having 474 inflow. So this is incredible, guys. This is showing us that they are still interested. And finally, just wanted to end on this thing. So we know that we have the Ethereum merge coming up, and there's a lot of miners that are really not too happy about this, right? Because let's be honest, if you're making money mining on proof of work and they switch to proof of stake, well, now you're not going to make money mining anymore. Now you're going to have to stake it, right? And these guys, they spent all their money on the equipment. And, even though the Ethereum devs, they have put the difficulty bomb in there, but you do have this one crypto miner, Chandler Guo, who actually has forked the chain in the past, is looking to fork Ethereum and the network as it prepares for proof of stake. The fork would allow miners to continue operations on a proof of work clone after the transition. Now, this has nothing to do with whether or not people are going to use it, how successful it's going to be. I mean, Ethereum Classic is still floating around, right? How many versions of Bitcoin do we have? We have Bitcoin Cash, we have Bitcoin SV, there's Bitcoin Diamond, there's literally so many Bitcoins, it's ridiculous. But there's only one true Bitcoin, right? But point being, I held Bitcoin throughout all those forks in 2017, 2018, whatever. And every single time they forked Bitcoin, guess what? I got free Bitcoin on another chain, which I was then able to go on an exchange and sell. It was absolutely free money. It's literally like an airdrop. So if you're holding Ethereum into the merge and these guys decide that they are going to fork it, whether or not anyone actually uses the chain or not, inevitably, if enough people actually get behind it and it becomes a big enough deal, you will get those forked coins in your wallet as long as you hold your private key, which is why you have to get a Ledger Nano. If you don't have a Ledger Nano S, make sure you get one, links below, etc. But ultimately, those coins would be yours. And if there wasn't enough network participants and they were listed on exchanges, you'd essentially have free money. So wouldn't be a bad idea to just maybe hold some Ethereum into the merge, not just for speculative purposes, but you may also get some free coins as well on some forked networks. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when that day comes, get subscribed. We'll talk about it, guys. I'll keep you in the know on that, right? Speaking of exchanges, CZ said that he got misquoted because they were talking about 90% of their customers leaving after KYC, causing billions in loss of revenue. And, he's saying, no, this is a complete misquote. Sad, but this is what gets headlines. But nevertheless, I'll tell you the truth. I don't trade on Binance anymore. They kicked me off a long time ago. So, if you are in the situation of one of these people who can't trade on some of these really big websites, then that's why everyone, is moving over to BitGet. That's why BitGet is the number 4 now in the derivatives trading volume, according to CoinGecko. So if you guys want to trade on a US friendly exchange for now, right? Who knows what could happen in the future? Obviously, don't keep more coins on this exchange. If you're not trading, don't put them on there. But if you want to take advantage of those bonuses, go watch my tutorial, guys. I personally believe it is the best tutorial on the internet. I love you. You're awesome. I do think the next 2 months could be a very decent rally. So yeah, stick around. Not saying the trend's over, not saying we're going full on bull. I just think we're due for that rally. And historically speaking, there is a lot of indicators that have been pointing it out, even like the market cipher indicator right here, which just actually alerted me to long on the 1 hour. So I have it set for 1 hour signals. I have a little trading strategy I do in the background. Maybe one day I'll show you guys my lower time frame trading strategy, but it's very fast paced, and I don't like really talking about it on YouTube simply because you really have to kind of pay attention and you really have to know what you're doing, and it's very time sensitive, and most people don't have the time to trade like that. But in the event that you do want to trade, I do highly recommend that you check this video popping up right here, right now. That's it for me, guys. Thanks so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.